glad that you can join me here today. Welcome to Day 334, Lesson 291. What am I and what is addiction? Pages 790 and 91. Is compassion lost when the self transcends beyond the need of forgiveness? This can happen when mastering transmutation and moving beyond the concept of addiction. The metaphysical platform from which to play is revealed to the awakened sovereign light self, and while still choosing to remain containing as a physical body. And in this moment, notice your breathing. Find that inner stillness from within. As simple as it takes with each breath to focus on and notice how deep are you able to access every breath that you intake and exhale out. And take a nice deep breath in. Give yourself a good hug and out. And notice the connection to the earth or the ground or whatever you might be standing on, or possibly even sitting. And that energy, to breathe it in from the soles of your feet, your tailbone, all the way up your spine, and all your systems, your organs. I'm thinking kidneys in particular, and surging all the way up the spine to this place beyond the solar plexus and in between the heart and higher heart, to meet and congregate, and breathing in the ethereal from the crown right through. Just visualize a pillar or the size of a pencil and breathe it in. And each time you breathe out, visualize it expanding. This inner light. This inner light. Sometimes we see it as the northern star, perhaps. The 4 points goes this way. And so we breathe it out and vibrate into our holographic field. And whenever you're ready, ground and center and anchor. Let's say these words out loud. By flowing through and allowing the flow to guide through me, simultaneously, I can be receptive and proactive. And breathe that in, soak it in, and see what you get throughout the day. And say it again. By flowing through and allowing the flow to guide right through me, simultaneously, I can be receptive and proactive. And take another deep breath in. Expand your arms out. And it helps to expand the lungs further and decompress. Feel the grounding By flowing through and allowing the flow to guide through me simultaneously, I can be receptive and proactive. By flowing through and allowing the flow to guide through me simultaneously, I can be receptive and proactive. By flowing through and allowing the flow to guide through me simultaneously, I can be receptive and proactive. Embrace the spirit in a way that the self can work from such a level and the platform, a non-linear bridge through space. Today, practice such embodiment with self-awareness through the heart and connecting to every cell within this physical containment. For every field that the self can sense and that radiates outwardly from its pores to occupy the many systems from within that coordinate to circulate harmoniously, and all it has to do is breathe. So, the many hormones that are released and the enzymes from each and every organ that represents a chakra within our system, and the nadis that are like a fountain coming out of us. This is what we call clairsentient. When we feel through every cell, through our skin and through our pores in a physical way, and also through the heart and all the other organs that coordinate and collaborate to create the system that we embody in this embodiment of the oneness. And so, breathe that in for a moment. In that centered state of awareness, the movement of the body through its space is a beautiful orchestrated discipline, and that there are many to choose from. Yoga can be anything from breathing and keeping the body still, to stretching, and or in the awareness of this mindfulness through movement and moving the life force around by gliding parts of its body through the air like Tai Chi, or any other kind of martial arts that we learn. And with that said, mantras and affirmations go a long way, and even mudras, with how we place our hands and fingers together. But go ahead and freely practice the most habit-forming memory that can be as a familiar remedy today for the experience. Page 791. By flowing through and allowing the flow to guide through me simultaneously, I can be receptive and proactive. What comes to mind here is martial arts. You know, when we take whatever's coming at us and we go with it, and it's, I guess, an offensive move or what have you, but we go with it and we pull on whatever's coming at us, and that knocks the other down with this energy. But yeah, I was remembering the martial arts that I was taking back when I was a youngster, karate, and I think it was kung fu, and they were teaching us the same principles that they teach with Tai Chi. You know, to just go with it, and whatever comes at you, you can just kind of and use that energy. Whatever's coming at you, use it and guide it and direct it and flow with it. Channel it. Make use of it. Empower yourself with it. The transformative epiphany can change the self to learn about transmuting its energy through motion. However, it can also become a replacement, like with any habit-forming rituals. It too can be an addiction. To cover over the awareness of the self by overwhelming it with bliss is the same as any other drug to feed the longing for the self. After this, the self can come to understand the importance of every moment, and that it is just as important and significant. Eventually, the self will come to realize just how valuable the moments that it spends out in the world with other beings can restrict it, because of the belief in a false judgment, currency, that defines the amount of play that can be experienced. And within those rules of limitation, miracles are scarce and far between. When the world can be addicted to such power that promotes more disconnect, the resistance from disbelieving that of another way to thrive for all cannot be trusted. The self cannot play in that reality for very long, when that is not the way it can generate for its abundance. To struggle and strife over garbage bags is not worth the gas from its compost, and that it could make instead the rubbish with. For example, you know, when you go to grocery stores and they charge you 5 cents for a bag, some places even 15 cents, and the quality of the bag is like, I mean, you can rip right through it if there's like jagged, you know, goods that you've purchased, you know, those vacuum sealed items that could rip and tear right through those bags. The whole concept is to motivate you to bring your own material bag. And, you know, it doesn't even go around your arm. You have to hold it in your hand like a briefcase. And so, moving right along, in a disguised device to only keep supporting the lack and limitation, again, with these garbage bags, they give you little bags. They invest in little bags to just barely fit your items in. And you're messing up the environment, really, by all these little bags that you can't even recycle to put your rubbish in. at the end of the day. So what are these little bags for? And why not invest in the regular size? Not too big, not too small. So that we can all use them as, to throw our rubbish in later at home when we get there, and then recycle them in that way. But anyway, that's just a thought. That, this world has codependently become addicted to, for its awareness, this kind of lack and limitation, and kind of, you barely fit your items in the bag. But, will make you feel bad, like you're kind of stealing the bag if you take one that fits your groceries in the right kind of way that you feel comfortable to walk out with it. And so it was never about saving the earth anyway. It was about saving the self, and not from the self, but rather by its awakening too. The purpose for today is to come to terms with the longing that does not last forever, and clearly embrace for all the parts of disconnected self. Because after all, it is our disconnect with our external world that we believe to be true. And yet, we're struggling with these mirrors, with these polarities that were meant to teach us, that we learn from. And we have the choice to accept it. Are you willing to accept within yourself rejection? You don't have to accept that. For example, that's one. And most of the time, people have a hard enough time learning to like themselves. And by you, or us, or the self, this relevance that we must acknowledge from outside of us is not confidence at all. The self-esteem, that's an inner job. When we get that self-esteem, that's an inside job. And then the confidence illuminates outward into our world, that we are certain, we are sure, we know thyself. And I will leave you with today's affirmation. Thank you so very much for joining me. Until next time, see you on day 335 on What Am I and What is Addiction? By flowing through and allowing the flow to guide through me simultaneously, I can be receptive and proactive. By flowing through and allowing the flow to guide through me simultaneously, I can be receptive and proactive. By flowing through and allowing the flow to guide through me simultaneously, I can be receptive and proactive.